the sound that breaks the silence of time. A whisper that carries through dust and memory. It moves through the ruins of Warsaw where smoke curls into the sky and children hide behind broken doors. It calls to a young woman who stands with trembling hands and steady eyes. Her name is Irena. And when the world fell into darkness, she chose to light a single candle of mercy. The streets were not streets anymore, they were veins of fear pulsing under boots and banners. But she walked them as if she belonged to another truth. Her steps small yet fierce. Each heartbeat saying, "I will not look away." She carried papers and medicines, but what she truly carried was defiance. The softest kind. The kind that hides in kindness and moves like a prayer through chaos. Behind walls the ghetto waited, its people shrinking into silence and dust. Children with hollow eyes stared at doors that never opened. And she walked in through those doors as if she could still remember what sunlight felt like. Her voice became a lullaby of lies told for love. She told the guards she was bringing help, she told the mothers she was bringing hope. And somewhere between those words she began to steal life back from death, one child at a time. She lifted them from despair's hands and carried them into borrowed safety. Toolboxes, coffins, sacks, anything that could hold a heartbeat. She taught herself to smile so fear would not notice her. She learned the art of stillness, the art of silence. Because silence was safer than truth. Each night she dug small holes beneath an apple tree and placed glass jars inside. Jars filled with tiny names written on fragile paper. Names of children reborn under false stars. She buried them like seeds and whispered, "Grow. For one day the world will need to know you lived." The moon bent low to watch her. And even the earth seemed to hold its breath as she covered the jars with soil. Warsaw slept uneasy around her, but she no longer slept. Her dreams were filled with footsteps and crying. Yet every dawn she rose again, tied her shoes and walked back into the storm. The smell of smoke, the sound of soldiers, the sting of cold air all became part of her. Fear stood beside her but never stopped her. She believed that love, if carried quietly, could still defeat an army. The days folded into each other like burned pages, and she lost count of how many she had saved. But she remembered their eyes. Each pair of eyes another universe of what might still be possible. In the mirror her face grew older than her years. But inside her something stayed untouched. A flicker of light that no cruelty could reach. In the spaces between sirens she whispered the only word that kept her alive. The wind turns colder and the city forgets to breathe. The echo of boots grows louder and the sound of fear finds her name. Irena walks through the same streets again, but this time they are watching her. The eyes behind the rifles know something they should not know. The air feels heavier than guilt and sharper than steel. They take her hands and twist her wrists and call her traitor. They drag her through the snow and the stone remembers her steps like bruises. They ask her for names. The names she buried like prayers under the apple tree. But she says nothing. She lets the silence speak for her. The silence that once saved children now becomes her shield. They break her bones, they tear her flesh. But they cannot touch what lives inside her. For courage does not live in the body, it lives in the soul. And hers has learned to survive in fire. She counts the seconds between screams and tells herself that pain is only another form of time. Time passes even when hearts stop. She feels her blood become part of the floor, and she wonders if the earth can hear it whisper mercy. They throw her into a cell where light does not enter. And still she dreams of children laughing somewhere beyond these walls. She imagines them running through fields she has never seen, calling each other by names that the world will never know. And she smiles, because she knows they are alive. The guards grow tired of breaking her. They do not know that she has already given everything away except her secrets. They call her stubborn, but she calls it love. And love does not surrender. One morning footsteps come again, but they are different, softer, quieter. Someone whispers her name and the word freedom. A bribe has been paid, a promise exchanged. And suddenly she is outside again, breathing air that feels too wide for lungs so broken. She hides in safe houses under new names with legs that no longer remember how to walk without pain. But she does not stop. She sends messages through whispers, through hands that still dare to help. She learns to move like a shadow. And shadows cannot be caught. The war rages on, the city burns again and again. But she still carries the weight of 700 hearts inside her chest. Sometimes she stands under the apple tree and listens. The jars still buried. The names still waiting. She tells them, hold on. One day I will come back for you. The night answers with rain, and she takes it as a sign that heaven has not forgotten. Her hands shake when she touches the ground. She feels the pulse of the earth and knows that even in death there is remembrance. And so she lives quietly between worlds. One where death hunts her and one where life hides from it. The pain becomes her companion, the scars her language. But she does not complain. For she has seen what happens when the world stops caring. She has seen the smallest act of kindness turn into a miracle. And she believes still that kindness is the only rebellion left. The war ends not with triumph but with silence. A silence so wide it swallows even the sound of grief. Warsaw stands in ruins, smoke rising from every wound of the city. Irena walks through streets that once knew her footsteps in fear. Now they are only ghosts and echoes. She moves slowly, her bones still broken, her heart still heavy. She goes to the place where the apple tree once stood. The earth is tired, but she kneels anyway and begins to dig. Her fingers find the glass. The jars still whole, as if the earth itself had protected them. Inside them paper and names and hope. She lifts each one as if it were a child again. And for every name she whispers, I kept my promise. Some of those children are still alive, now grown, their faces unknown to her. They live under new names in new lands. But she does not need to see them. It is enough to know they exist. Each breath they take another proof that light can outlast the storm. She gathers the papers, holds them against her chest, and weeps for the first time. Years pass like quiet waves. She grows older, smaller, softer. People begin to ask her what she did, why she risked everything. She looks at them with the same calm eyes and says, I only tried to save a few children. They call her hero. She shakes her head. For in her heart she remembers the ones she could not reach. The faces she could not find. The voices she still hears in her sleep. The world moves on, builds monuments, writes her name in books. But she lives simply among flowers and whispers of the past. Sometimes children come to her asking for stories, and she tells them not of war but of kindness. She tells them that courage is not loud, that it does not always wear armor. That sometimes courage is a quiet woman carrying a child through the night. And they listen. And they learn that even when the world forgets, there will always be those who remember. As the years fold into each other and her hands begin to tremble, she writes again. Not names this time but wishes. She writes, let there always be someone who chooses compassion. Let there always be hearts brave enough to love the broken. When she finally closes her eyes, the world does not end, it exhales. The apple tree still stands, its roots deep, its leaves bright. Beneath it the earth hums softly, carrying the memory of every life she touched. And if you walk there in the quiet, you might hear it too. The faint heartbeat of 700 children. And the whisper of one woman who refused to be silent. Her story moves through time like wine through grass, gentle, unstoppable. It finds those who have forgotten what mercy means and teaches them again. And somewhere a new candle is lit in a darkened room, and a voice says quietly, there is always light. There is always someone who will choose to love. And the echo answers, book.